Alrighty, good morning, folks. Coming to you live with several interesting technology glitches today. However, you know what? The show is called Kim Talks Resilience for a reason. And I love it when we have our amazing guests and their support and everything. Everybody gets on the line and we try to figure this out. So it's you know what? Hang in there. We got a great show for you. I am unbelievably excited about our guest today. Truly living the life. And she's going to have so much to share with you. What is Kim Talks Resilience? Well, if this is your first time joining me, this is where I get the opportunity to share time and interview women of resilience in life and business from around the world to share their stories and their insight with women around the world. Because you know what? That's how we learn is success leaves clues. And by seeing the clues and hearing the clues and learning the clues from women who are modeling it every day, it helps us all have a bit better focus and view of the world. And that's what we need. In this crazy world, we all need to align ourselves. They say, show me your friends and I'll show you your future. And that's what I've been blessed to have all these amazing friends. So our guest today, get ready, folks. You're in for a treat. Michele Blood is a successful, multi-talented lady. Michele is a rock singer. It was a rock singer in Australia. And after a near fatal accident, she created positive affirmation songs, which not only healed her body, but also took her on a worldwide success. These affirmation songs affect the left and right hemispheres of the brain. Lyrics, the left hemisphere, and melody, the music, is in the right hemisphere. So the new positive messages go straight to the subconscious mind. This is why millions of people worldwide have downloaded her affirmations power songs. These songs cover healing, success, money, joy, confidence, and they uplift the person immediately. In addition to creating magnet to success products and seminars worldwide, her public mystical success events have been held in over 26 countries. Michele has co-written and created over 80 books, music CDs, audio programs, TV shows, and videos on positive thought, mind transformation, and meditation. And guess what? I just watched, you've got to go over and check out her YouTube channel. I just watched her sitting with Jack Canfield. Like, this is like one of the guys, chicken soup for the soul. Gotta love him. And anybody who will share space with an amazing person is obviously, again, show me your friends and I'll show you your future. Birds of a feather. These are all sayings for a reason. And welcome to the show, Michele. I'm so excited.
Here we are at last. You know, we proved that we are ladies of resilience. Just your snowstorms and internet patches and just persist until you succeed. Yes.
Absolutely. You know, what is that? There's a saying, and it's just like, you know, it is literally, what is it? Oh, Edison did not find 10,000 ways I failed. I found 10,000 ways it would not work. And I think, folks, that's what we did today. Johnny's on the line. Doug is on the line. Everybody's here. How are we going to make this happen? And we made it happen. This is awesome.
Yeah.
All right, Michele, break it down as to who you are. Give us a little pre-frame as to your origins, your Aussie origins, and the musician within, and give us a little bit of pre-frame as to who you are.
Okay, well, as you can hear, mate, g'day. I'm an Aussie, and I've been a professional singer since the age of 5. I was on TV at the age of 5. I had many, many great bands. One of them was so popular that we toured at one stage 7 years nonstop. I was the lead singer, the main songwriter, the manager of the band. I got us record labels with Time Warner. We did videos. We toured with people like bands like the Pretenders, In Excess, Georgia Satellites, you name it. And eventually we became so popular that we had our own backing bands for us, you know, to support us. And my life was ideal, really hard work. When you're singing all around It's very, very tough because you're traveling, you're driving, you're traveling, you're driving, you stay in horrible hotels until you get really, really, really famous overseas. You just stay in what we call cockroach palaces. Even if you've got thousands of people coming to your gigs each night, they think you're rich, but you're not yet. And then, yeah, I remember once Michael Hutchins from 𝗟𝗡𝗅, the lead singer, borrowed money from one of my row crew to get a hamburger after one of our gigs because they didn't have any money either until they became famous overseas. But I had a near fatal truck accident actually on my way home from a gig, 12-hour drive. Truck driver fell asleep at the wheel. And as the passenger, I was my body was devastated with all the crushing instruments and big speakers that went into me, not the driver. And so that was the beginning of a transformation for myself, of a new life that I kept singing, but a new life that took me into a different trajectory altogether, into deep mysticism and who am I? And it was just so fascinating, all those months in the hospital, and the way that I came out of it, became completely healed. When the first 4 weeks, they thought I was going to die in any moment. And they said, "You want a priest?" And I said, "I think I'm Buddhist." Anyway, which I am now. I've been ordained in Bhutan as a Buddhist. So, but anyway, I may not look like it, but you don't have to have shaved hair to be enlightened. But that's the beginning really of my story, and how I ended up working all over the world, working with Bob Proctor for 9 years, running his business and my business and hit records all from Kuala Lumpur in Malaysia. Biggest audience was 50,000 people that Bob Proctor and I visualized. A year later, it happened. I've had hit records in so many different languages, it's not funny. And the affirmation songs that healed my body that I created have now been downloaded and listened to multi-millions of times all over the world. Some people have sung it in different languages, but which, I think it's great. Just share the music, get it out there.
And music does heal. It's why we sing to our babies. It's why, as a Girl Guide leader, I know more Girl Guide songs and Girl Scout songs than I do any other song, right? But it's fascinating that you talk about this, because I never really gave it deep thought as to why music inspires. So now I've studied why you would have music on in a store, because music actually replaces the time space. It's like this time continuum that people experience in a store, that although it's 3 minutes they've stood in front of a shelf, they've actually feel that it's only been a minute. So because music can actually displace time, our perception of time. And yet I never connected the energy around music. Right. So it is fascinating. I do want to dive a bit more into this, into what you do. Because it's like, what don't you do? That shorter, faster conversation is, what don't you do? Because you do so many things. So right now we met, I think, through a book initially. So you have you have a couple books, several books, you've co-authored, you've co-sung, you've done all this other thing. Walk us through what your high point passion is right now. How are you serving right now?
Well, the thing that I adore, I went off the grid for 10 years to train with an enlightened teacher. And I eventually became awakened myself, which I never expected. But I put 10 years into not doing big events or singing or anything, just to find God, find who I am. And so my biggest thing now is I teach students all over the world deep mysticism and how to awaken. And my students come from all walks of life, 32 different countries, all different languages. Even if they can't understand English, they still come on the big Zooms that we do. And I transmit back to them, I pray for them. And we've got doctors, lawyers, dentists, celebrities, homemakers, it's someone who's searching for their purpose. Who am I? So that's the biggest thing, because one of the things that Buddha always taught was we've got to release suffering in the world. And if people aren't awakened, they are always suffering to some extent because they live in fear. They don't live in the moment. And when you live in the moment, you are in the timelessness because there is no time. Time is an absolute illusion. And when you go through an experience where you've released time from your consciousness and you've awakened, the whole world is different. It is an incredible journey. And I love the fact that I am bringing it. I like the fact that the Divine chose a rock singer from Australia to teach about enlightenment and mysticism, because it's like, if I can do it, anyone can do it, but you have to be committed and you have to really want to awaken. But the more you get into it and the higher you get, you understand things. You don't judge anymore. You see people with divine love, and it is an exquisite, amazing thing that can happen to anyone if they're committed to doing it. So that's what I love to do. I love to transmit this light, release suffering in the world. And I don't care what a student is suffering from. If they're suffering from lack of money, if they're suffering from not being able to complete projects, if they're suffering from disharmony in their lives in any form, it all can be healed very, very quickly if the person makes a decision to commit to having that part of their journey be healed, because no one needs to suffer. It is an illusion. It's the mind. It's like there's 7.5 billion people on the planet, but that means it's like 7.5 billion different world planes, because everyone's consciousness and science now has been able to prove, just this year, they have proven, New York Times did a whole article on it with all these scientists, that it's really a hologram, and the black holes aren't what you think they are. So what I adore about science and any sort of studies to do with music and how that affects you in a positive way, to see the scientists from Einstein competing with himself over the years, to all these different scientists today who've been able to discover things that us mystics have been teaching and speaking about for thousands and thousands of years. So it's so wonderful. So even if someone says, oh, well, that's ridiculous, I don't believe you, read the science. Hello.
Well, okay, so first I want to ask something around your Zoom calls, right? Pandemic. When did you start these Zoom connectivity opportunities?
About 10 years ago, we started doing all our live streams to my audience, and we would do tons of videos, but then Zoom wasn't around back then. It was, I hadn't heard of it. So we used different connections to do the live streams. But when Zoom came out and they kept improving it, we changed over. We changed over to Zoom because it was much better when you've got a huge amount of people coming on. I've got this huge, big screen in front of me so I can see everybody. And it's just, it's marvelous to be able to do it. I live in sort of isolation. I live in the countryside, and there's only 1,300 people that live in the town that I live in. And I love it because it's isolated. I'm lucky to hear one car go by where I live, because there's no reason to go up this high in the mountains. And so it's amazing to be able to do it from home, because I used to have all my students fly in from all the countries twice a year, and we do a live event in either San Diego or Los Angeles. And it's so wonderful just to do it from home, because now I can do events nonstop.
Yeah.
I mean, I do at least 2 or 3 interviews every day. I do at least 4 Zooms with all my students, and free Zooms for the public every week. And because I can do it from home, I can do much, much more. So I absolutely adore the technology. I think it's amazing. I mean, there are times when I would prefer to be live, because then you get the Michele effect.
Yeah, you get the energy. You get the human energy. You get the human energy. And I asked because we saw a lot of people step up their technology connectivity game during the pandemic. Bill Gates has cited saying that he believes 18 months moved us forward 10 years in our technology communications and the way we live and work in just 18 months.
I concur.
Did you find that you had a higher engagement rate, and you have a higher engagement rate today because maybe people are more open to that connection?
Oh, absolutely. 100%, Kim. Yes. It's made a huge difference because people that couldn't see me before can now see me all the time. And when the pandemic first started, for the first few months, I did a free event every single morning just to get people into their meditation and so that they'd be happy and so that they, it wasn't always morning for some of them because it was from people from all over the world. I adored doing that. So the fact that's why I've done so many more now, because of the fact that it is not difficult to uplift somebody. It really isn't.
Yeah.
You can help release suffering really quickly. I mean, we've done masterminds, we've raised money for single parents who couldn't work. I mean, we have done so much. The mystical experience, all the students together to assist every single person who is going through any sort of challenge, teaching and helping with I've got an amazing team of people that I've worked with over 20 years. And we've helped even a piano teacher in Switzerland learn how to create her own online piano teaching because she couldn't teach. So she's making more money now than ever before. And we actually did that as a gift for her, helping her put the website together and everything. And so we've come up with so many different things to assist people that are making more money than they ever did when they had one job.
And that's the truth of this, that it's no longer the side gig or hustle economy. It's the multi-stream of revenue economy. And this is a real thing. And I believe that every person has at least 3 streams of revenue within them, even if that revenue is only $10 a month. The reality is every person, if you're over 20 and you can tie your own shoes, you have 3 streams of revenue in you.
Multiple streams of income. Yeah.
Absolutely. Multiple streams. And I think what I'm getting out of this conversation, and after watching you on your YouTube, and everybody do go to Michelle's YouTube, it's such a great channel, is that I love the fact that you have so beautifully blended what we call woohoo, the woo industry, and the practicality of the entrepreneur industry, and brought them together in a synergistic way. I know that one of the things that Linda Proctor, Bob Proctor's wife, was talking to you. I like I said, I had a whole morning of Michelle, folks. You got to go get some. Musivation. I love this. The curation of new words, new acronyms that really have power to them. Musivation. Walk me through musivation and how this music motivation, came to you during one of your greatest challenges of life.
Well, it's an interesting story because the thing that changed my life, Napoleon Hill, the author of Think and Grow Rich, which is absolutely crazy. Why would that book, a girl quite young at the time, in hospital in absolute agony, I mean, just one of the operations, 17 and a half hours, just, I'd pass out every few minutes from agony. It was incredible. How could that book, a rock singer in Australia, a female, and this book is about male millionaires, millions of millionaires these days, but back then it would be like a billionaire, right? Anyone can become a millionaire these days. But anyway, millionaire male entrepreneurs in America. Why would that? I didn't like any of the book except for one chapter. I was listening to it on a cassette. People were bringing in all this stuff to make me feel better, but once you're out of pain, you can feel better. But when you're in agony, people don't understand. They think emotional agony is just as bad as physical agony. It is not. Anyway,
yeah.
When I heard Earl Nightingale, who was speaking the book, who's got that beautiful, he had that beautiful, rich tenor voice, and I would love to listen to any sound that sounds great, being a musician. And he said, Napoleon Hill's little boy was born completely 100% deaf. And so Napoleon Hill would go into his little infant son's room every night and say, into, where there was supposed to be ears, he didn't even have ears. He said, you can hear perfectly. You grow up to be such a strong man. You're compassionate, you're loving, people love you, you're likable, you're successful, you hear perfectly. He kept doing this every night. By the time the little boy was nearly 4, he had 30% hearing, which was impossible. So when I heard that, when you know something in the marrow of your bone, is truth. It's truth. So I said to myself, self, you're going to do affirmations. You're going to do that auto-suggestion, a positive statement you say to yourself about yourself. It must be stated in the now, and it must be emotionalized. But Kim, the reason they say it must be emotionalized is because nowadays neuroscientists can tell you, but back then they couldn't. They didn't have the equipment to understand the brain like we do now. But the doubting part of the mind is just such a little bugger.
Yep.
Because if you don't believe it, if you don't believe the affirmation, I was saying, I am healed. I know I am. I love myself. I am my friend. And I'm doing miracles are happening to me right now, and every day a miracle I see. Doing these affirmations, and they weren't working because the doubting mind was spitting it straight out. Doctors, specialists coming in, need another operation, and this could happen and that could happen. And you're like listening to all this, and you're at the same time attempting to do the affirmations. So I decided to quit, which is very unusual for me. But I decided to quit because it wasn't working. But then I had the greatest spiritual epiphany of my life. And that is, you cannot get a song out of your head. I even used to write jingles, which I never told the rock band because that was very uncool, but it made money so I could buy drum sets and stuff.
Yep.
You can't get a jingle out of your head. Advertising agencies spend billions and billions a year on jingles because they know once you've got that jingle in your head, you have the product in your head forever. And that's where you want the positive thought to be. And children learn their ABCs through singing them. So I got a little cassette player, which I always had with me. I got someone to put it on and get blank cassettes for me because I still couldn't move. I was still on a steel plated bed, no mattress, no pillow, in traction. So I just started singing. I got them to press record. Miracles are happening to me. And then I started singing, I am healed, I know I am. I love myself, I am my friend, over and over and over again. And to make a very long story tiny, I got people to go and look for affirmation pop music for me, rock music. No one had done it before. I just did it because it came in my mind, I'm going to get healed. I did become healed. And because of that healing, I went into the studio afterwards and I recorded tons of new affirmation songs, but I didn't do it for the public. I thought that was a really uncool sort of music to do for the public. And so I just did it for myself and for my band to give us that positive, life-changing, mind-changing, positive thoughts so that we could get that record label in Europe or in America. It wasn't thinking of anything else. But what happened was the media in Australia found out about my healing. And so I was being interviewed on newspapers, magazines, television. And from that, all these promoters came out of the woodwork who brought over people, paid people like Dr. Deepak Chopra, Dr. Wayne Dyer, Louise Hay, Bob Proctor, Stuart Wilde, all these different people, best-selling authors. And they wanted me to go and sing, and they were offering me ridiculous amounts of money just to go and sing in between. And they said, you can sell your CDs at the back of the room. And I said, what CDs? And they said, your affirmation music. So that's how it happened. And all of these speakers loved what I did so much. They kept hiring me to go and do more and more gigs. And that's what happened with Bob Proctor. When I first worked with him, he just said, I want you to work all over the world with me. From there, my deeper mystical journey began, because as your frequency all this positive music and speaking about my accident and how you can do it. You can get yourself out of any situation. And, you know, and I couldn't believe it. These people came to these events, 3,000 to 5,000 people, and they were paying thousands of dollars to go and see these men I'd never heard of. I'm like,
all right,
what's
folks.
going on?
That's awesome. Yeah,
What's going on here, man? But anyway, so I stayed with my band for another 6 months to give them plenty of time to start another band or do something, which is really hard when the lead singer leaves because she's the songwriter and the singer. But I did my best by them. But I was flying at that stage, even with the band. Bob Proctor was flying me to Malaysia and then to America, and I was just doing gigs. And then more and more of these well-known people that I'd never heard of before started hiring me to come and do all these things. And because of the fact that I'd been able to put on rock concerts since a little kid, I'd been able to put bands together. I could handle any audience in the world. If you can handle 4,000 drunk Australians when you're singing to them, you can handle anything. And so all that experience of being able to put on events, I made the events that I did with Bob Proctor like a rock concert. We would do all the affirmation songs, get everyone on stage. I had male dancers and musicians, and then Bob would do his talk, and then we'd do more music, and they were just on fire. It was so energetic, and I still do the music with my events always because I love getting people up on the stage and dancing with me and just getting themselves out of their little self and into their big self so that they can focus on the big picture and get them into a much higher vibration, because then they can take in all the information in a way that they couldn't if they were just sitting down and listening.
Exactly. Getting people up. Delivery from a standing point is typically, they say that all the studies now show, so they've done survey after survey, people who use their hands in a presentation of any sort are actually viewed something like 70% more trustworthy than people who deliver just like this. It is crazy. The psychology, the what the brain is interpreting as trustworthy, and you've embodied all of that. You've got the movement, the music, everything. So yes, please do keep going because I am loving this. I'm sorry, that just popped in my head. The whole hand
No,
thing.
that's great. That's
Deliver
great.
with your hands, people. It's all right. Little jazz hands are always good.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and if you're feeling down, look up. Even just doing that makes a difference. But anyway, what happened to me was I was so in love with life. It was incredible. I started living in Kuala Lumpur, running Bob's business, got him a best-selling book as well. I was writing books. I even teach people now. I teach people everything that I taught myself how to do. I teach people to do. Like I've even got a book writing course. You can write a book in 3 days like that. And I'll gift it to you as from me, because it's amazing for fiction, nonfiction. I've done ghostwriting. Once you're in that creative plane of life, you have infinite potential, infinite wisdom that comes through you. It's not from your education. I left school when I was 15 because I knew I was going to be a singer forever and I didn't need any more of that education. But I got life education. And the more and more I started reading mysticism, you know, my favorite book was the first one that was really turned me on to the light was Yogananda. Paramahansa Yogananda, everyone must have heard of him, Autobiography of a Yogi. Get the blue version, not the orange version. The blue version is his original words. And that blew me away about enlightenment, because at that stage, I felt this heart glow and I knew it was divine, but I didn't know where to look for it. You know? Where is it? Well, it's there. Hello. And I could start hearing this buzzing and this beautiful humming in my body. And I know it's Shakti now, but it was like coming through me. And I said to Bob Proctor, I said, I've got to find God. I've got to find someone who knows God. And he said, you're going to be looking for an enlightened teacher, and they're very rare. And I said, well, I'll go, I'll look. And so I went all over the world. I went to Japan so many times when someone said there's a new Zen master, but India, all these places. But then I couldn't feel anything. So I knew that you had to connect with your enlightened teacher. You had to feel like you could relate, that you were sort of in resonance or almost in love with them, you know, to be able to take it on. And 14 years of searching, eventually I came to America to live, and I found an American woman, or Canadian, I think she's 10 years younger than me, who had become fully enlightened because my friend Johnny had a Mahasiddha. A Mahasiddha is like Jesus Christ, Yogananda, Swami Muktananda, these amazing and beyond enlightenment. There's enlightenment, which is rare, but then there's a Mahasiddha, and Babaji, of course. And his teacher had left the body. And so he found out that one of his students, Rama's students, Kundalini, who was my teacher for 10 years, was enlightened. And so immediately we went to go and see her. And she's sitting in this room in Balboa Park, San Diego. About 80 people came, and she's just sitting on a little stage. And then she's standing up and talking to us. And she was so hip and beautiful and cool. And I'm like, but I was expecting some bald Asian guy to be an enlightened teacher. Who knew that this, you know, I saw her hands glowing. My eyes started prickling with tears. I started feeling tingling, and I knew she was my teacher. But I've since found out that she was my teacher in past lives as well. And I had been enlightened in past lives. But at this stage, as far as I know, I'm her only student who has become enlightened since she stopped teaching. But it's just, I just want everyone in the world, even if you just start meditating a little bit, your life changes, your heartbeat slows, your immune system is so strong, you are resilient. The divine through you can give you everything that brings you happiness. People that are spiritually inclined sometimes are not open and receptive enough to receive. They can give everything, but you've got to have balance. You've got to be open and receptive to receive and to give, which is one of the things I teach all the time. If I'm going to give, if someone's suffering and they ask me for some money and I can feel it's real, I don't even think about it. Yes, here you are. Here's your rent. We've got to know that we're all in one golden tapestry. And when we help another, we are unconsciously assisting ourselves to awaken. Anytime someone feels depressed or they don't know what to do with their business, stop and just go and help someone else. Do it immediately, and you will snap out of that old paradigm into feeling fulfilled. Don't tell anyone else when you're helping people. You know, I just shared that with you for the example, but you don't share when you help people, because then you build up this beauty within you, and you want to do it more and more and more. And that is the way to get out of depression. That is the way to get out of poverty as well.
It's leaning into the greatness that you attract, and that includes people, and being receptive to it. The hardest thing for a lot of women especially is to accept a compliment. And that is part of what Michelle's talking about here, is being able to accept when people give you something positive in return. And the fact that I think it was James Clear from Atomic Habit, where he talked a lot around the mind cannot hold a negative and a positive at the same time. It literally physically cannot activate both at the same time. So it is a choice. Singing in the shower. Let's talk singing in the shower. So everybody says do your affirmations in the morning. Oh, what do most people do in the morning? They take a shower. And your voice sounds so good in a shower.
Reverb.
So that could be like part of your morning meditation, is sing to yourself in the shower. I'd like to dissect this down into, because I always like to leave everybody with an actionable step they could do. I'd like to actually see about how can somebody make a quick jingle for themselves that they can sing in the shower. Like, what are some of the pieces that you think people should include when they're doing a musivation moment within, that for themselves?
I don't know. It's funny because Bob Proctor and I did so many programs together, and the Magnet to Money song I wrote myself, but he loved it so much we did a whole program around it. And he sang on that audio program. It's hysterical. And Be Your Perfect Weight program, he sang the Be Your Perfect Weight song as well. It was hysterical. And I said, are you, do you want me to wear this out? And he's like, no, I'm a bad singer. I want them to know it doesn't matter if you can sing or you can't sing. But the thing with Musivation, with the affirmation power songs, songs for success, songs for motivation, I've got so many CDs, all to do with different topics for healing, creating miracles, is you only have to listen to them. That's all you have to do. And we have a brand new app called Magnet to Money app, which has got morning meditation, 8-minute morning meditations, where you get to speak about you get to focus on a particular topic every day. And I transmit light and meditate, tons of affirmations with the music underneath them, the famous Magnet to Money song, the audio book version of the best-selling book by myself and Bob Proctor, Become a Magnet to Money through the Sea of Unlimited Consciousness, and magnetmoney.app.com. It's amazing. We're relaunching it in about a week with all of these new things that we've added. So wait a week. And also for your listeners, I had a piece of paper down here before. Oh, anyway, I know what it is. The link is Michele Blood, MicheleBlood.com/Kim Talks. And you are going to get over $300 of my best-selling products for free, absolutely free. The Practice of Meditation video, the Magic of Affirmation Power book, some of our best-selling songs, Magnetic Creative Visualization program, the top goal setting and action planner by myself and Bob Proctor, the 6-week deep mysticism course, which will help you clean out every area of consciousness and your life in very simple, very easy instructions for every week, one video a week. And everyone's going to love that. As far as singing in the shower, I've never sung in the shower. Isn't that fun?
Oh, it's my favoriteest thing. And this time of year, I'm belting out the Christmas tunes because it snowed here last week like crazy. So it's my favorite. I don't sing in. I've actually been asked not to sing in public, but I do sing in my shower all the time, and I do sing to small children who can't tell me to quit singing. So you know.
That's awesome. Do you want me to play one of the songs?
I would love that, please.
Okay, this is a song that Bob Proctor and I were doing a program called New Paradigms. And so I would write a song to go with the talk for each audio program. And this is called Persistence. And what happens, I keep changing keys as I go up so that you can feel you're being persistent. You're getting up, you're climbing the mountain. And these songs just affect your consciousness so. Can you hear it?
Yes.
Yep. Too loud?
No, perfect.
Persistence. Fortune stand them waiting, they will never fade away. They're both yours for the asking, but there's a price you need to pay. It's persistence, persistence that shovels up the gold. It's persistence, it's persistence. Just a little bit more of it. One ingredient in the cold. Resistance with persistence. You beat resistance with persistence. You stay until the job is done. Your reward will be fulfillment. Inside, you'll know that you have won. And that goes on and on into different keys. And you listen to that and you're like, If you're not feeling like you can persist until you succeed, millions of people all over the world listening to some of these songs have said, that got me there, listening to that song. So I don't know about singing in the shower. I think singing in the shower sounds like it's fun, but I think when you're driving, when you're cleaning, whatever, if you've got an Alexa, just say play Michele Blood music, and you can listen to it for free on your Alexa, and she will go for hours, because I've got so many songs, listening, kids, self-esteem songs for kids, you name it.
Love it. Love it. Wow. I so wish that you are truly living the life. I love. Okay, so I have one question. You said something earlier that really got me thinking in regards to a lot of women do everything themselves and they don't have a backup plan. When the lead singer can no longer lead the band, how does the band continue to make money? And this is a question. This is a very real question for a lot of women in business. And could you share with us, are you open to sharing with us a couple different strategies, or even just one that maybe we could learn or work to implement in our lives, so that if we're not able to be present, our business still has opportunity of creating revenue?
Well, it's different when you're talking about a band, because once the lead singer's left, I mean, I guess there's been bands that have got, AC/DC got a new singer when, Scott died. INXS tried to get other singers, but you can't replace Michael Hutchence.
No.
My keyboard player ended up working in for one of the big keyboard companies, teaching, programming and stuff, because he was brilliant. Bass player ended up starting his own band. He was not a singer. He got another singer. The guitarist, Matt, who was so brilliant, he was a Christian, born-again Christian. He started a born-again Christian band and became very, very famous in Australia in the Christian community. The drummer is so brilliant. He just could play with anyone. He's just a session singer, player now for tons of big people. So that's what that was. But as far as, you've got to have multiple streams of income. Like if I've got to travel or do anything, I have created so many websites with my team. We are brilliant. You've got to have a team that you're willing to all live. You don't want to have people work with you who want to do what you want to do. I made that mistake many times. Yeah, because I wasn't treating it like a rock band. You've got to treat your business like a rock band. Everyone's got to be in tune. If you're not in tune, you're not going to get hired, because when you hear something out of harmony, it's just, well, even if you don't think you can sing in tune, you hear when people sing out of tune, that's for sure, or play out of tune. So it's like the Buddha said, you've got to have balance. Mindfulness is balance. He saw a sitar player in a canoe playing his sitar, and that's when he realized how he was going to become enlightened. He had been starving himself and doing all these austere things to skinny, anorexic, all those people walking around with no clothes on, thinking they're going to become enlightened, and they're starving to death. And he said, well, if that sitar player has his strings too tight, he's not going to be able to play. They'll break. If they're too loose, he can't play it. I've got to have balance. And a girl walked by with a bowl of rice and offered it to him on the spot. And he said, sure, I'll have a meal. And all the other austere monks were looking at him like, oh, you're not being saintly. And he ended up becoming, enlightened. But the thing is, you've got to have multiple streams of income. You really do, because then you're making money while you sleep. You've got to put your products out everywhere. I have so many different programs to teach you how to do multiple streams of income. I don't just teach about enlightenment, because I want everybody to win in every area of their life. And as the Buddha said, we are what we think. All that we are arises with our thoughts. With our thoughts, we make the world. So the secret was said 2,500 years ago by the Buddha. It was no secret. We are what we think. All that we are arises with our thoughts. Make sure your thoughts, I don't know about backup plans. I've never been a person to have a backup plan. I don't know. I've always been so strong-willed that I just know it's going to happen. I make it happen.
I get you. I get you. And it's when we talk about this, people need to understand that a lot of what we're talking about are some of the hardest fields to crack. Online education, 90% of new courses or courses fail. So only 10% are actually making it. And I don't believe the other 90% were bad. I believe that they did not have the perseverance to push until they did make it. Only 13% of real estate agents who get their license. This was deemed a necessary industry during the pandemic. Almost every country said real estate agents can continue working, yet just 13% are licensed 36 months after they get their license. And I do not believe that people fail because they're not worthy. I believe they fail because they do not have the persistence until they hit that gold. And that's that whole 3 feet from gold. I love the fact that you talked Napoleon Hill. I mean, and every day can be just that extra quarter foot closer. Let's go through. I want to go through your socials. I've got your socials here. I would encourage people really do go to Michele Blood's channel. It is so much fun. The energy is incredible. And instead of watching something that is negative or derogatory, there's so much garbage out there. Fill yourself with some healthy engagement or musivation or edutainment, however you want to coin it. Do fill yourself with something good. Did I get the socials correct? At the Mystical Experience on Instagram and Facebook. And your YouTube. And your YouTube.
My YouTube, I know that one. That's youtube.com/Michele Blood.
Correct. And your team even got your handle. The YouTube handle is Michele Blood with 1 L, folks, not 2 L's. So if you're listening, it's 1 L, MICHELEBLOOD. I promise you, it will be the best time that you spend in your life is just going to absorbing everything. And your interview with Canfield was so much fun. I mean, I would love to be able to do an in-person interview with you because you just radiate. You really do. One of the things I'd love to, before we jump into your quote that inspires, you said something that was really, you said so many things that I absolutely loved in this. And if you can see why I'm looking down, folks, my desk is a full glass top that by the time I'm finished with the podcast, I have all these notes and these inspirational pieces that come from, and I learn all the things. This is my quest. Just so you know, Michele, you are part of my quest. This is part of my enlightenment quest, is, to spend a year and interview 100 women that inspire me. And this then helps me become the better person. You said, look up, don't look down. Is there a psychology behind that? Because so many of us are walking around right now looking down at our phones. So we're constantly looking down. Talk to me a little bit about that, because that kind of sparked me right there.
Well, I don't ever have my phone on. I just leave that up to my team. It's something I couldn't do before. When I first came to America, I had to do everything on my own. I had to learn how to get the printers. I mean, these days it's so easy to write a book and get it printed and get an e-version. I had to learn everything on my own. And I love that, like persistence is like carbon is to steel. But it's not about talent. I'm sure there's a billion other singers that are better than me. No, I'm just kidding. Anyway, it's persistence. You've got to do something, and it's not about your passion. People think you've got to do your passion. Passion is ego. It's about what drives you inside, in the marrow of your bone, what you feel great about doing. And that will then maybe not always be where all the income's going to come from, but it will open up the windows of consciousness for you to see other things and other opportunities, because you'll be vibrating in a higher vibration. If you're if you're going for something and you don't resonate with it because you're in a lower resonance of frequency, of vibration, you're not going to get it. What you're seeking seeks you. So what you're seeking, and you may not realize it might be something you're focusing on what you don't want instead of what you do want. And it's not like wanting, but the things that will bring you fulfillment and happiness, money, all that stuff. It's so important. I want everyone to be able to own their own beautiful home in the mountains and do what they need to do to make the world a better place. And you can do it. You can absolutely do it, but you have to build up that, the diamond. It's coated. Your higher self is coated with emotions, and you've got to get them, in the way to get rid of them, because otherwise you keep repeating the same things over and over again, is to build up your vibration, your frequency. You cannot make things happen, even with persistence, if you don't lift up your vibration. That is absolutely number one. And just listening to these songs and going through all of those programs we're giving you absolutely for free, and on the YouTube station, talk about everything from writing a book to karma, to what is your purpose. So many different topics. You'll love it. Love yourself, because you can do anything. It doesn't matter. There's no obstacles, only your mind.
There's no obstacles, only your mind. That is, so what is the quote that that resonates with you?
Well, it's the one I did before from the Buddha. We are what we think. Everything we are arises with our thoughts. With our thoughts, we make the world. So that is always my favorite, because I am an ordained Buddhist monk from Bhutan. That's where I became ordained. So,
oh, wow. Oh, awesome. Awesome.
So I really went deep into my studies.
Amazing. Amazing. Well, you know what, folks, we're nearly at the top of the hour here. And Michele, I cannot thank you enough for, and it's actually with you, it's sharing more than just the time. You're sharing your energy, your insight, your wisdom. If you just look, folks, the leadership is out there. So some things that I picked up today is, you know what? Surround yourself with people that can pick up the gauntlet when you're busy, so the business doesn't stop. Surround yourself with the right people. Give yourself the space to elevate your thinking. Invest in who you surround yourself with. Remember, show me your friends and I'll show you the future, right? And you can do this. You really can. Ladies, you can do this. We can be the change we want to see. And now is our time. We are in the age of wisdom. We are in the age of knowledge. We are no longer in that industrial age that quantifies us by our brawn and who's got this. It's no longer a limited resource. We have Web3 out there. We have amazing free apps out there. We have so many opportunities to become everything that we were meant to be, that spark of when we were created. And, John Calvin Coolidge, the son of the President Calvin Coolidge, said, nothing in the world can take the place of persistence. Talent will not. So there you go, folks. Everybody out there, just keep pushing. Okay, until next time, folks. My name's Kim Hayden. This here is Kim Talks Resilience, where we're talking with leaders, speakers, coaches, authors, women who are being the change they want to see in this world. And my guest, amazing Michele Blood, thank you so much for sharing your time.
Thank you, Kim. Before you go, please, if you want to receive some amazing high vibrational success meditation, tons and tons of free products, go to micheleblood.com/links.